Hey, what's good? Coach Colin Castella back with another video, and today I got something a little bit different where I'm gonna give you my top 3 daily fantasy sleepers. Now, as the season's getting ready to wind down and we're getting into playoff mode, I know a lot of you guys are playing daily fantasy basketball and need a little bit of help finding those sleepers. So what I decided to do today is just put together a quick little video for you guys telling you who I think are 3 must-have players that are a good deal and I think are gonna perform really, really well. And this video is brought to you by my guys over at FanDuel. Now, FanDuel has a super sick March Madness tournament going on where if you sign up before March 22nd, and if you deposit $5, you'll automatically get $5 in FanDuel credit. Plus, when you enter any paid contest, you'll get $25 on Ticketmaster. So click the link in the description down below or the first comment down below that and enter to win today. All right, so with that being said, let's jump into our fantasy sleeper locks for the rest of the season. Now, there's a few different things that we kind of thought about while picking these locks. Number one, we thought about, where the team's positions are at. We thought about the type of playing time that players are gonna get. And we also thought about the uptick in their performance over the last little stretch. And, this last little, kind of leg of the daily fantasy sports season, especially in the NBA, is kind of hard to predict, right? Because teams start shutting their players down. Maybe they're tanking, maybe they're resting, maybe they're getting ready for the playoffs, all that sort of stuff. So what I wanted to do is allow you guys to get some really kind of deep picks that will probably be pretty good production-wise down the stretch. All right, so selection number 1, Karl Anthony Towns of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, I know this doesn't seem like much of a secret or a lock, right? Because he's one of the higher paid players on the platform, but his production level has been absolutely phenomenal. And especially because we're coming down the season, he's got a few other reasons that he's probably gonna play well. All right, so reason number 1 why Karl Anthony Towns is probably a lock for the rest of the season is because he's super incentivized. If he makes an all-NBA team, that means he's eligible for a $190 million Supermax contract extension, meaning there's millions and millions and millions of dollars on the table for him if he plays well enough. All right, the second reason why I think Karl Anthony Towns is going to continue to produce is because the Wolves might as well try. They're kind of in that awkward spot where they're like just barely out of the playoffs but could still maybe make it, but they're not quite in full tank mode yet either because they can't get far enough down in the lottery. So they're probably going to play most of their good players, and for the most part, the ball's going to be in Karl Anthony Towns' hands a lot because they're going to want to prove to that fan base that he's the face of the franchise and that he can still get them production. Reason number 3, it's been a rough season and they're going to want to finish on a strong note. Now, the Timberwolves have had a crazy season, from injuries to the whole Jimmy Butler saga and scenario and all that sort of stuff that happened and took place, to the Tom Thibodeau firing, right? They want to end with a sweet taste in their mouth, and so they're probably going to want to ride Big Cat as far as they can and really generate that excitement in the fan base, and it totally makes sense, right? So I predict that they're probably going to feed him the ball a lot, they're going to run a lot of plays for him, and he's going to have the full green light to let it fly whenever he wants. And then to throw on top of all of that, a bunch of the main contributors on the Timberwolves are actually either injured or banged up right now, guys like Andrew Wiggins, Jeff Teague, Robert Covington, and even Derrick Rose, right? So with all those guys kind of banged up and injured, it's probably going to rely more so on Cat, and that's why I predict he's going to have a big season down the stretch here. So that brings me to sleeper pick number 2 for the rest of the season, Domantas Sabonis of the Indiana Pacers. All right, so Domantas has absolutely been killing it this season, and his production has been really, really high, borderline all-star level. Now, one thing to think about is he is coming off of an ankle injury, and so he didn't play for about 5 games, and now he's got about 2 more games under his belt, and he's been playing with a little bit of limited minutes, but still putting up pretty decent numbers. So what I really think is as that ankle continues to heal, and as the Pacers keep fighting to hold their number 4 spot in the playoffs, he's probably gonna keep playing really well and get a ton of minutes. And like I mentioned, they're fighting for that critical 4th or 5th spot in the playoff picture, because if they're in that spot number 4, they're going to have home court advantage in the first round. Thus, he's incentivized to play better, right? Because the Pacers really want to hold on to that spot and make sure that they don't lose the home court. And another reason why I think Domantas and the Pacers are going to finish the year strong is because they have something to prove, right? With the Victor Oladipo injury, everybody just wrote them off, assumed they'd be out of the playoff picture, and they've actually stuck around really, really well. And a big reason for that is guys like Domantas on the roster. And you also remember he probably has that chip on his shoulder from when he was traded from the Oklahoma City Thunder, just kind of cast away for Paul George. And so because of that chip on his shoulder, I think he's going to continue to play hard even down the end of the season here, when a lot of times people don't care about the games as much. So you can lock Domantas in for a strong finish. All right, so sleeper pick number 3, Jalen Brunson of the Dallas Mavericks. Now, Jalen's had a phenomenal season thus far and kind of flown under the radar a little bit. With all the Luka mania that started out, kind of at the beginning of the season, people didn't really think about Jalen a lot and didn't really even notice him producing at the level that he has has been, but especially recently, he's getting a lot more minutes and he's producing a lot more on the court. So if you look at his last few games, he's absolutely been killing it. And I think that's probably going to continue because if you look at the Dallas Mavericks position, they're the second worst team in the West. And at this point, winning doesn't do them any good. So they're probably going to see what sort of game Jalen Brunson has and if he could maybe be a point guard of the future for them. Because at this point, the season for them is pretty much over. Playoffs aren't in the picture, so they're going to want to see what they have on their current roster so they know what they're going to need going into draft time. And we pair that with the fact that Mavs owner Mark Cuban was on a podcast the other day and he actually said that he told his players that it was best for them to lose right now. They're probably going to put a lot of minutes in the rookie's hands, and I think he's going to produce. So those are my 3 secret fantasy sleepers for the rest of the season. But don't forget, check out the link in the description down below and join FanDuel today. Now, FanDuel has a super sick March Madness tournament going on where if you sign up before March 22nd, and if you deposit $5, you'll automatically get $5 in FanDuel credit. Plus, when you enter any paid contest, you'll get $25 on Ticketmaster. All right, if you enjoyed this video, pop that like button and then head to the comment section down below and let me know who you think your fantasy sleepers are going to be. I'm interested to see who you guys think are going to end the season really, really strongly. And again, I'm Coach Colin Castell with ShotMechanics Basketball. Thanks for watching, and until next time, splash on.